And with those longer tail keywords as well, do you typically find a lot of them have a higher conversion rate as well?
Huge, yes. They convert incredibly high because the person who searched that phrase is very specific about what they want. They know what they want. All you have to do is deliver that to them exactly, and you have it. That's it.
It's funny, because we've talked over quite a few things, and I think you really clearly outlaid the strategy that you go for. With, I suppose, having worked with so many people, especially on your blog and getting started with newbies and as they're just getting started and getting into affiliate marketing and marketing online, you no doubt see a lot of mistakes that people are making. I know one of them that you talked about was the idea of trying to get caught up in having this system, this idea of you need to create 10 pages before you can then move on. What are some of the other big mistakes that you see people making when they're trying to get online?
I think one of the biggest mistakes I see people make getting started is that they want to study everything and they want to know what they're doing before they start. And considering that I started back in the 90s, there were no ebooks, there were no webinars, there were no events, there were no experts. So we were winging it. And if I wanted to learn how to make a web page, all I had was Netscape Composer. That just makes me feel bad.
You and the code.
Yeah, and so I learned how to view the source code on a web page, and I pasted it into Notepad and examined it, and then I would change little things and then put it on the web and see what it changed. And that's how I learned how to bold text or how to make italics or how to make a line break. And so I think the most important thing that a person can do is implement as you go. If you read an ebook, be committed to implement the strategy right there on the spot while you're reading it. Use it as a guide. So there's no money in being the one with the most ebooks. There's no profit in knowledge. It's only in action. And so study, implement, take action right away. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to be bogged down with emails and ebooks and strategies and ideas and numbers and things, and you can't put it all together. So figure out what you want to do, study what you need to study in order to figure out how to do that, and then do that.
Yeah, I think that hits the nail on the head. I think a lot of people really get caught up in trying to get everything perfectly set up before they ever start, and it really does come down to the implementation.
Boy, let me tell you, if you could see, and it's somewhere on my blog, my very first blog post ever, I still laugh at it. It's a shame I've even left it up on the internet, but the thing is it's never going to be perfect. And if you have a profitable online business, it's never going to be finished. So you can't expect to get it right and get it done before you get it online. So the most important step you can do is register that domain name, install WordPress, or create the website and just get something up there and get started.
It's funny because you see this time and time again with a lot of people that you work with. It's one of those things where you can keep just saying it and saying it, and even I think the good thing is someone who listens to this audio, you're going to hit the right person at the right time, and they're going to go, yes, I can see this. I just need to get started. I think with your huge sort of experience online over the past, 13 years or more, looking back now over that internet sort of marketing career, can you think of maybe some of the I think, big rocks, the big leverage points where you look back and you said, once I started to do that had a real big impact on my career, like it might have been the point I started to outsource my customer service, or perhaps a few things where you look back and go, I kind of wish I did that a hell of a lot sooner.
Yeah, there are several. Number one is to have an accountability partner, someone who does internet marketing and gets internet marketing. Even if you're both completely newbies, it's good to find somebody on your level because you can share ideas, you get some positive feedback, you have someone who gets it. And so it was a long time that I was working solo before, I kind of met a few people that I could connect with and talk to at least once a week and just touch base with. Otherwise, you go completely crazy, and you'll second guess yourself and things like that. So I think my productivity shot through the roof when I, connected with someone who was on the same level as me with different skill sets, and we were able to just, go back and forth and brainstorm and share resources, and just it really made a huge difference. So that would be number one. Number two would be outsourcing. And a lot of people go at it with, I can't afford to outsource. And I've gotten to a point, of course, in my business where I can't afford not to. But somewhere in the middle is it's this leap that you take, this leap of faith, and you will make so much more money. I hired a full-time assistant, on site to come in and work 40 hours a week. And I thought, I can't afford that, This was years ago. But the minute that I hired her, it freed me up to do all the creative work in my business, and my income really dramatically improved and increased. And so I was not only able to afford her, but I was also earning more money by hiring her. And so it's kind of a leap of faith thing, but outsourcing is huge. And I will say this. This is a big lesson I wish I had known a long time ago. Don't create your business or your model expecting to always be sitting at the computer running it. At some point, if you're doing any good at all, you're going to outgrow that position, and you're going to have horrible growing pains. So if you have everything set up so that you have access to everything and no one else can, it's really difficult to outsource. So from the beginning, or wherever you are right now, it's a good time to use a ticket system, and you can use osticket.com, which is free, or to use project management sources. And I know Basecamp is a paid product, but there's OfficeZilla.com, which is free. And if you set that up, then it makes it easier for you to run your business solo, but then when you are ready to outsource, you're not scrambling and going through a 6-month pull your hair out, go crazy thing trying to restructure everything so that you can outsource. So scalability is very important from the get-go.
Interested, you mentioned the outsourcing, the idea of getting the full-time assistant coming into the office, and I know we have some people come in here to the office as well, and I find you just get so much better reach that way. But I know a lot of people sit there and thinking about, dreaming about the internet lifestyle and the idea of, running this virtual business with no one coming in. Just interested to get your thoughts on the difference, because you work with both virtual assistants and assistants who come into the office. What are your thoughts on the differences between the two?
Well, my thoughts are I've done both. And both work out, for different purposes, depending on what's going on and what your business model is and what you most need. At the moment, I don't have anyone hired to come on site. So I'm also not running a service-based business anymore, so I don't need someone to answer the phones or things like that when I'm traveling. So it depends on the model. Right now, I have virtual assistants. I choose people who are in my country that speak my language specifically because I'm comfortable with that. And I usually choose people out of my pool of peers because they know me and they know my business, well enough to, do things without asking me a million questions. They kind of know, okay, Lynn would probably want it done this way, so we'll just do it. And I give them that creative freedom because I'm comfortable with that aspect. And so, I think like I said, it just really depends. If you're running kind of a service-based business, you need someone to answer the phone. You need to be set up to be prepared for that, even if you're the one doing it now. But if you're running a completely, passive operation, online only, and even under a pen name or what have you, outsourcing really is, like virtual assistants really is the best way to go. There are a lot of benefits. You don't have to worry about so much about liability and the whole payroll thing and yada yada.
Yeah. So the two real key leverage points that you found over those years were the accountability partner and outsourcing. Did you have any other key ones, or they were sort of the main ones?
I think that's really the main thing, that plus scalability. And a lot of people think, well, I'll grow when I grow. And the problem is that growing pains are the downfall and the death of a lot of businesses. So I think it's very smart to scale things out from the get-go, to be prepared to grow, to have things set up knowing that you're going to eventually have to outsource. So having that scalability in your mindset as you're growing and creating and running your business, I think is one of the biggest keys. I personally have gone through so many growing pains, and let me tell you, it is terribly painful in 13 years. And so that's one of the reasons I say that that's one of the biggest leverage points, and I do that now. Now when I create a new site or a new business model, I don't dump everything into, let's say, Outlook that it can only be accessed on my computer. I'll use a Gmail account for each business. That way I know I can outsource that Gmail account for 2 weeks, or I can outsource it permanently, and various things like that. So it's real important to be prepared to scale up.